Welcome. Welcome. Where are you tuning in from? Oh, wow. Titi, how are you?
Hi, Lanre. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Talk of technology challenging me here. I'm not a digital native.
Yes, so right. We all get through it. How are you tonight?
Well, very well, thank you. And you?
Awesome. I can't wait for our discussion tonight.
Okay.
Welcome to Mind Transformation with the Catalyst. The world of work has changed. The world of human resource has changed forever. COVID-19 has and will continue to create performance, productivity, and profitability issues for individuals, for organizations, and for nations. The topic tonight on Mind Transformation with the Catalyst is the era of coaching. Is this the era? And what is the era of coaching if truly this is the era? My guest tonight is fondly called TA by her professional colleagues. TA stands for Titi Akisanya. Titi Akisanya is a very dynamic, result-oriented, and internationally experienced senior HR professional and management consultant with over 12 years experience in the banking and 27 years experience in consulting. That's 39 years of working experience. Loaded. Now, let me roll out places that she's worked. Titi was the HR practice manager in Phillips Consulting. She was the HR lead in Accenture, formerly Andersen Consulting Limited. She was regional HR manager, Coca-Cola, Nigeria. She was division HR manager, Coca-Cola, Nigeria, and Equatorial Africa division. She was HR director for CBS, Africa, subsidiary of Coca-Cola. Titi is a certified executive coach with strong expertise in every aspect of strategic HR business partnering, leadership, and talent development. He coaches executives from the top to the middle level, that is C-suite levels, and she is the immediate past president of the International Coach Federation Nigerian chapter. She is currently the vice president of CIPM. She's an associate faculty of the Global Team Coaching Institute, and she is the CEO of Theta Alpha Consults Limited. Now, Titi will be doing justice to our topic tonight. I'd like to encourage you to go get all your friends, your followers, and everyone that you know that is a trainer, everyone you know that is a motivational speaker, everyone that you know that is an HR personnel, anyone you know that is a coach or a teacher. They've got to tune in because tonight's topic relates to each and every one of us. She's an expert when it comes to human resource and human capacity development. And so, Titi, welcome to Mind Transformation.
Thank you, Lanre.
All right,
glad
awesome.
to be here.
So let's dive into it. You know, a lot of people, you know, when you go out there and you say you're a coach, they say, are you a basketball coach? Are you a football coach? You know, so let's start from basics. What is coaching?
Okay, thanks, Lanre. Well, you said let's start from basics. So let me start from the very, very basics. The coaching is about taking you from where you are now to where you'd like to be, right? So it's derived from that word coach, and a coach is anything like a boss or train that takes you from where you are now to where you'd like to be. So coaching in the professional sense is really about enabling people to aspire their dreams. It's about unlocking their potentials. It's about making them the best they want to be, either in the achievement of their dreams or achieving results or performance or whatever. But since I belong to the professional organization of coaching, which is the International Coaching Federation, ICF defines coaching as partnering with a client in a thought-provoking and creative way, that it inspires the client to maximize their potential, and so it brings out their personal and enables them to achieve their personal and professional aspirations or potential. So that is coaching in a basic way, and coaching in the professional sense. Thank you.
All right. So you speak about professionalism, ICF, what is ICF and what does ICF do?
Okay, so ICF, like I said earlier, is International Coaching Federation. It's the global body for professional coaches. And ICF exists in almost all the countries you can imagine all over the world. And what does it do? It certifies and accredits professional coaches. So once you've been certified, you've gone through a professional training in coaching, regardless of your niche, you can be a member of ICF, and then ICF has its own standards in terms of levels of accreditation, just to make sure you are honing in your skills. ICF exists in Nigeria, and like you said earlier, I was the outgoing president for International Coach Federation Nigeria chapter.
Fantastic. So it sounds to me that coaching is a profession. So can anyone call themselves a coach?
Well, I'm glad you said coaching is a profession. So a profession means the required disciplines and standards. So anyone cannot call themselves a coach. These days I'm amused because motivational speakers, pastors, almost anybody and everybody says they're a coach, but that is really not it. Because for you to call yourself a coach, like any profession, you ought to have gone through some measure of training. You ought to have gone through the practice of coaching, because there's some skills that you have to have. And you have to have gone through the disciplines and the rigor, and so the certification, and then the onward accreditation by ICF Global. Wow.
So there is a process to you becoming a coach, and there it's a global profession.
Yes, but it is. In
fact, PwC just released a research and says that coaching is the second fastest growing industry in the world. And coaching is an $11 billion industry. $11 billion industry. All right. So speaking about,
I believe that, Lanre, because about 4 or 5 years ago, when we started ICF Nigeria chapter, there were like just about 3 or 4 niches. When I say niche, I mean a specialty area of coaching or coaching professionals. So you had executive coaches, life coaches, leadership coaches. But today, if you go on their website, and with some other establishments that accredit, that certify coaches, you've got so many niches: wellness coaches, trauma coaches, business coaches, and the list is endless.
Wow, this is profound. So, it seems like, we're speaking in general terms. As an executive coach, Titi, what do organizations and individuals ask you to do for them? So what exactly do you do for individuals, executives, and organizations as an executive coach?
Okay, as an executive coach, starting with the individuals, it's about making them the best that they want to be. It's about letting them achieve their dreams or the desired outcomes or goals, right? It's also about, first of all, raising their self-awareness, because these individuals are executives or leaders in organizations. So in coaching, I'm not just coaching the individual, But by coaching the individual, I'm more or less coaching the organization. Because one of the things I say to those individuals is you cannot lead others until you know what it means to lead yourself. So starting from that point of self-awareness at the individual level, and part of the coaching is to make sure then they are not only a leader of self, they're a leader of others, and they're a leader of organizations at a larger scale.
So coaching is not... Why do people put a stigma to coaching then? Since you say coaching is about helping you be all you can be, coaching is about helping you succeed, coaching is about helping you achieve and attain your dreams, coaching is about helping you develop your self-leadership skills. So where are the negative or the stigmas coming from when people don't want anyone to know that they're being coached, when people don't know what coaching is? So where's all of that coming from?
I guess it's from a wrong mindset, in the sense that if you're in an organization and you are assigned a coach, there's that perception that you must be an underperformer, right? That's why. So the coach is there to fix you or to get you to be a performer. I remember one of my colleagues who said each time he went into an organization, the executive's PA would say, your shrinker is here, right? So it's from a wrong perception or understanding. But by and large, coaching is not about fixing you, because we don't fix. We partner and ensure that in partnering with individuals, we work with you to enable you achieve your dreams at your own pace. The coach is on the driving seat. The coach is the one that determines what they want to achieve or where they want to go. And my role as an executive coach is to say, how fast do you want to go, or how far do you want to go, right? I hope that helps. Yes,
it does. So we've spoken about coaching. We've talked about what coaching is. We've talked about, what coaching can deliver. So I guess another important question is, what isn't coaching?
Good question. Coaching is not counseling, for example, because counseling, I guess you should have gone through the runs in terms of being a qualified counselor. Counseling is more like therapy. Coaching is not mentoring, for example, because as a mentor, you've been there, you've seen that, you've done that. And so you're talking to your mentee about your own experiences so that the mentee, you can help the mentee navigate their own paths, but more or less walking through your experiences or in your shoes. Coaching is not about managing either, nor is it about training. And so you can see, and it's not consulting, because consultants, we're subject matter experts. We come in, you tell us your problem, we fix your problem, and we leave you, right? And there's no guarantee that after the consultant has walked away or left, you're able to run without the consultant. In coaching, because we're partnering, because we're facilitating, because we're unlocking potential, it means that everybody has fundamentally inherent in them what it takes to achieve. Everybody has potential. And I don't know if you've heard me, for example, I always talk about that famous quotation, my formula that I learned years ago. Performance equals potential minus interference. Performance equals potential minus interference. So for us as coaches, we believe everybody has potential. And so it's how do you use that potential to achieve results or to perform? But perhaps for some people, there's something getting in the way. So what's the interference? What's the barrier? What's the limiting belief, And we throw out all this by asking evocative questions to bring our clients or my clients to a new level of awareness. But the difference about coaching with all these other professions I mentioned about is the individual comes up with their own solutions by themselves. We don't tell. We don't advise, right? We don't instruct. However, a good coach like myself, at different times, I bring in a blend of advice, counseling and coaching, but I do it with permission.
Wow, this is profound. So, speaking about barriers, speaking of challenges that get in the way of people transitioning from where they currently are to where they desire to be, let's speak in COVID-19 terms. I think you may need to turn your camera back because,
okay.
Speaking about barriers, speaking about, mental blocks, speaking about, limiting beliefs, speaking about, strongholds. Let's talk about COVID-19. And, what are the short, medium, and long-term effects of COVID-19 on individuals, on teams, on organizations, performance, productivity, and profitability?
Okay. So let me start by defining what COVID-19 is from the lens of a coach. So from my lens, COVID-19 is a crisis. COVID-19 is a disruption. COVID-19 is likened to VUCA, that acronym that talks about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, right? And I add a D, and the D there is VUCA, and the D there is disruption. So COVID-19 is a crisis that has disrupted the whole world, right? So incidentally, if I may just even interject, disruption was the theme of the annual national conference of CIPM last year. So in anticipation of disruptions or crisis, good companies always embark on what we call crisis management audits, for example, right? So back to your question, if we look at what are the short, right, medium, and long-term effects of COVID-19? Yeah. Did I hear you right?
Yes, on individuals, on teams, organizations, and their performance, their productivity, and profitability.
Fantastic. Well, listening skills are one of the good skills of a good coach. So I'm on the right path. So on the short term, the impact on individuals or teams and organizations in the short term, COVID-19 requires a rapid response. I mean, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, for individuals, it was like, yay, and organizations, it was like, oh, Wuhan has come, right? So the rapid response was, so what do we do now? Even before the lockdown by the government, some organizations had put crisis management responses in place in terms of what we call social distancing, but I don't call it social distancing. I call it physical distancing. If we do social distancing, then we're killing ourselves softly, right? So I call it physical distancing. So short term for everyone is the rapid response. When the lockdown was announced, for example, the rapid response was about buy, store, and all that. In the medium term, the response for individuals and organizations have come to resilience. Resilience is having a mainstay. Whether we're on a lockdown for another 1 month or 2 weeks or 2 days, where's your mainstay? What's holding you to stand firm, despite all the turbulence around? And in the long term, I guess for individuals, organizations, and teams, it's about recovery response. So we're now in a new normal. So what does that mean in terms of how individuals, teams, and organizations progress? Of course, we can't talk about technology as a hindrance anymore, because you and I, even like me, I mean, using Instagram, I mean, I've downloaded it for God knows how long. I don't use it the way you use it. But thank God for COVID-19 and this interview tonight, right? So I'm in a recovery response mode by doing things and using tools I haven't used before, just to ensure that I'm in tune, I'm in link, and I'm using those things to move ahead. Like most companies are using Zoom, Microsoft Teams, right, to communicate. So it's really about the level of agility in terms of how well you can innovate and catch up with technology or innovation.
And so why would organizations more than before need the help of coaches now, post-COVID? I mean, now that we're experiencing COVID-19 and post-COVID.
Okay. Well, I get excited. I shouldn't say this too loudly, but COVID-19 is a blessing in disguise. Well, the reality is COVID-19 is a storm, but we're all in different boats. For my boat, as an executive coach, COVID-19 is a blessing in the sense that individuals, teams, organizations need to bounce back, right? They need to stay focused. They need to be creative and innovative. There has to be that agility in terms of thought leadership, critical thinking, and the need for me to raise awareness levels to being outcome focused. The ability to help these leaders reframe and move them from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. So it's that agility in being able to move forward and bounce back. It's that mindset where leaders take ownership in not only developing the teams in an optimal way, but ensuring that the teams are accountable to still enable them deliver results in an effective and sustainable way. So COVID-19 is that blessing, and not just me as an executive coach, but coaches all over, because COVID-19 has opened up ways for wellness coaching, getting people to focus on how they stay fit. I mean, you and I will stay at home. We're not moving as much as we need to. We're not active. We're not agile. So some people have put on weight and the flaps are showing in the ugly places, right? So wellness coaches are thriving as well as a result of COVID-19.
Wow. All right. We know that the traditional intervention in organizations has always been training. Mm-hmm. Especially with COVID-19 now, what will coaches do differently from trainers? And why would organizations require coaches and coaching more than training?
Good question. So coaching is about doing, because the answers lie within the individuals we coach. Right? The answers lie within the teams we coach. And then, because the answers lie within them, they draw within their inner recesses to come up with solutions or ideas. So coaching, therefore, impacts peers. It impacts emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, and all that. Whereas training is about telling. So the fact that I train you on emotional intelligence doesn't mean you'll walk out of that training and be a better emotional intelligent leader, right? But taking what you've learned, the ability to take what you've learned in the training and put it into practice right? And where you have your coach even observing you and raising your level of self-awareness in a different way is the impact coaching or coaches bring to the table as opposed to trainers. And so, again, another example I'd like to use is we can train on leadership competencies. We can train on the core values of an organization. But having a coach to coach that executive will enable that executive to reinforce those values and will enable that executive to walk the talk by ensuring that those values and leadership competencies not only resonate with that executive as an individual, but those leadership competencies or core values of the organizations are well aligned with that individual's personal core values as well. So coaching is the doing part, whereas training is the telling part. And again, studies show that if you tell people, you need a blend. So you do show and tell, but you reinforce with coaching so that those actions in what they've learned are reinforced and they become sustainable to achieve results.
Well, this is very profound because it brings me to a key point that I always say to people. People that say that knowledge is power. I say to people, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just simply information, and that's what you get when you're trained. But knowledge that is appropriately utilized at the right time, for the right reason, is power. And so what I hear you say tonight is, coaching is what translates that knowledge into action. Coaching is what converts that information into motion and transition conveys you from where you are to where you want to be. So would everybody need a coach now and post COVID-19?
Oh yes, they better. That's the only way I believe they can really bounce back in a successful way, bounce back with springs on their feet. Years ago, I remember Steve Jobs used to say, everyone needs a coach. And this was before COVID-19. So Bill Gates has a coach. Name all the successful mega millionaires all around the world. They all have coaches. So everyone needs a coach. Pre-COVID-19, post-COVID-19, more so, because it's about giving you or working with you to let you bounce back quickly. For organizations, for example, some organizations have made losses, huge losses, right? Some have been followed and all that. And so post-COVID-19, organizations will be moving forward in a different way totally. Oil prices have fallen off. The economy is upside down. And so for us as coaches, is about how do you bring out the best in this crisis so that coming out of COVID-19, you can be successful. I have been saying to my clients, don't let a crisis go to waste. Don't let a crisis go to waste, because within a crisis, there's always an opportunity. And that is my focus, and that is what I bring to a lot of my coaching clients, and I'm sure my other colleagues all around the sphere. That's our focus, to say, how can we let individuals, teams, organizations, economies, homes, families, how can they bounce back quickly after COVID-19?
Wow. So it's instructive that everyone knows that for you to bounce back and transition from survival mode to success and significant mode faster than you can all by yourself, you need a coach, or you need coaching. And so there's a gift that we're going to gift out at the end of today's show. So, based on my experience in the last couple of weeks working with as a coach, I've found that majority of the issues are behavioral issues. Majority of the issues are, mindset issues. Majority of the issues are perception issues. Majority of the struggles that people are having are limited. So what is the role of, a complementary intervention called NLP? This is post-COVID. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Program. I'd like you to enlighten, especially HR practitioners, people in HR, why they need to, incorporate coaching what they do, why they will need, a complementary intervention called NLP, the coaching intervention.
Okay. All right. You've talked on a very interesting part of my coaching toolkit. So NLP, let me break down that definition if you'll permit me, Larry.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. NLP is the study of human excellence or psychology of excellence, and it demonstrates how human beings communicate so that they can be more effective, and effective in a way that they influence others through an understanding of their thought processes, their language patterns, and their behavior. So if I break it down, the neuro is about your brain, right? So it's about what's happening up here that affects your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and also has an impact on your behavior. So NLP, okay, let me go on. That's the neuro. The linguistic relates to the language and how you use it in communicating with others. And part of it includes your tone, your tonality, right? And then the programming part relates to the patterns of behavior which you learn and show or exhibit or repeat. So our internal thoughts and patterns of behavior help us solve problems, and it enables us to make decisions so we can move forward. So that's the N, the L, and the P. But putting it in a simple way, NLP for me is about understanding how people think, how they feel, their emotions, right? And then their actions. So if this is so, after COVID, HR practitioners, in fact, everybody needs to have a good understanding of these human patterns and behaviors and ways of communicating, right? NLP hinges on 4 principles. It's about rapport. How well do you communicate with others? Like I said earlier, oh dear, lights just went, but I'm sure you can see me. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead until light comes.
You can hear me but not see me. So I hope they put on the generator in good time, right? Okay, so the rapport. How well do you communicate with people? Are you the one always talking, or you listen more to what the person is saying? Part of rapport, I always say, is listening to the words behind the words, right? And then, of course, we have the outcomes. What does that person want to achieve? For all of us, what do we want to achieve after COVID-19? What do we want to achieve in terms of sunk investments or investments that have gone underwater, right? So outcomes enables you to fashion some goals. And it's when our coaches or our clients come up with the goals they'd like to achieve that we work side by side with them to achieve those goals, right? So the rapport and the outcomes is important. NLP enables us to bring a measure of flexibility. And within that flexibility, thank God light is back. Can you see me now? Right? Okay, up NEPA. I don't know the PHC bit, so it's up NEPA, right? Okay. So I said rapport, the outcomes, and then it's about using our senses, our 5 organs, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our hands. I touch a lot. Many people know I'm always the first to give a hug, so I'm in trouble after the lockdown is over, thank God we're indoors because, I just hug anyone and everyone, right? Okay. So our senses in terms of our touch, right? These organs or these senses play a role in terms of human behavior and understanding patterns. And then, of course, the flexibility in terms of understanding that nothing is cast in stone. Human beings will change. And I dare say a lot of human beings are changing and won't be the same after COVID-19. Husbands are not the same anymore because in homes where they have young children, they've learned to walk, not just drop the child at home and come back when the child is asleep, but they've learned to function effectively whilst the child is doing home learning. They've learned, in fact, in some ways to cook. Husbands have learned barbing skills, and things like that. So flexibility, COVID has brought flexibility. And so for us as coaches, is how do we get our clients to work within the realms of those flexibilities to bounce back so that whatever they've learned during this period of lockdown, how can they bring it to good when they come back to the workplace? Of course, life will never be the same for a lot of people. Unfortunately, I dare say, for some, because they've lost loved ones, it really wouldn't be the same. But again, for them, it's about moving forward, not looking back, but being able to move forward.
Wow. So a combination of coaching and he is a winner for, anyone that is a trainer, anyone that is a teacher now, anyone is a motivational speaker, anyone that is interested in human capacity development, you need to go get training and certification. Remember that Titi said that, you're not a coach until you go through the process. It's just like you can't call yourself an engineer, or you don't call yourself a medical doctor or an accountant without going to school. Through the medical coach. So, when people come to meet you now and say, look, I need help, especially during the season of COVID-19, what are the particular challenges that you find that are being common? And what are the, with your colleagues and with yourself, so that people know that, look, if I'm going through this, then this is the solution and the intervention that I need. So what are the most common challenges that, you have heard about that coaches have worked with executives, worked with organizations, and worked with individuals now, and you are working with individuals and organizations and executives post-COVID-19?
Okay, one of the common things that come up with executives we've worked with is when they're going through any transformation or any crisis, right? That ability to bounce back quickly. Because at times they may bounce back, but their spouses, for example, may not bounce back. And of what use is it if you bounce back with regards to your work, but everything at home is not okay? And that reminds me, so the fact that I'm an executive coach doesn't mean I'm not a life coach. Because, this example I'm talking about, you can bounce back in the office in achieving your goals or targets, but things are not okay at home because your wife hasn't bounced back after COVID. She's lost her job, her business that she just took a 20 million naira loan from, it's gone down. Children also have missed graduation and things like that. So obviously this executive will not be wholesome. So the kind of coaching we bring to the table for that executive is holistic, because we want you to bounce back in an all-rounded way. At home, at play, within the community, in church, your religion, your mainstay, your anchor, all these things, all those things that are getting in the way of somebody being whole again is what we coach on so that they can bounce back quickly. But remember, because they are in the driving seat, we just use techniques or questioning techniques and some tools to bring out some of these things from them, from their inner recesses, so that they can not only talk about it, but gain commitment to move forward. And one of the tools we use, if I'll mention that, is the GROW model. Mm-hmm. I don't know, that's that one common universal model every coach uses. In fact, some HR people use it as well. The GROW model, the G stands for the goal. What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go, from now? The R is reality. What's your current reality? And how is it in line with the goal you want to achieve? And then the O stands for the options. What are the options? What options can you come up with that will enable you move from your reality to that destination, to that goal? And then the W stands for commitment, your willingness to be able to commit to achieve this level of growth and give it whatever it takes.
Wow. So a coach helps, from what you've said, a coach helps you live a holistic life, helps you look at your spirituality, your emotional intelligence, resilience and balance, home and family, your relationship and your marriage, your achievement, success and attainment, your harmony, fun, recreation and rest, helps you look at career, your work, achievements, and if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, helps you look at your business, helps you look at your finances. So a coach helps you look at your life holistically and helps you find fulfillment, satisfaction, peace, prosperity, progress, and harmony. Mm-hmm. Wow.
You've said it all. You've said it all. And so, in fact, some people talk about holistic coaching. So regardless of your niche, if I'm a wellness coach, for example, I cannot talk about, first it's about asking the coachee, what does wellness mean for them, or the client? What aspect of wellness do they want? Is it about losing weight? Or is it about eating well? Or is it about just having muscles or a flat stomach, or just keeping fit or that kind of a thing? And once they define it, it's almost like letting them explain why do they want this? And even if they achieve all of this, what will it do for them? What impact? And somebody can say, oh, I used to pray very well, but now that I've put on weight, I don't get to pray as much as I want to. Okay, so you want to lose weight so that it will enable you be more agile and you can stay up and pray better? Is that what you want? So the coachee is always defining what it is they want and where they are now. And our role is to stretch it further, to say, okay, once you achieve this, what else, or to enable you achieve this, what else can get in the way? What are those barriers? What are those ceilings that you haven't thought of, that can get in the way of you achieving your goal? And that's why, HR people are familiar with the acronym SMART. When a client comes up with the goals, our role is to make sure those goals are SMART. They're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable or attainable, they're realistic, and they're time-bound. So I want to lose weight. When? By when? So I want to lose. So how much weight would you really want to lose? 80 kilos now, so I'd like to lose 20 kilos between now and December, right? Okay, so 20 kilos between now and December. what do you need to do to achieve those goals? Obviously, you can't do it overnight. It has to be in increments. So those incremental gains or wins. So losing 20 kilos, what would it require you to do? And the coachee will say, I stop taking Coca-Cola. That won't work for me though. I still take my Coke. Don't ask me how many bottles or cans, right? And the client will say, well, I should stop taking carbohydrates. I only take proteins. I cut down my sugar, And we're then saying, what else? And we push the what else to the limit to ensure that there's a measure of exploration of all options that will enable that client stick to their goal and be able to achieve it within their designated timeline.
So coaching is not just, it's not just talking and gisting. It's from what you're saying, you can measure the impact of the success of coaching.
Oh yes, indeed. The language, we speak the same language as finance people. So we let them know that there's an ROI, there's a return on investment when it comes to coaching. Any form of coaching, even if it's pro bono coaching, there's a return on investment. And that return on investment is to measure the results or measure the outcomes.
Wow. Profound. Thank you very much, Titi. Tonight has been profound. One of the things that we do towards the end of each show is that we share the affirmation of the day. And the affirmation for today is really, the success affirmation. And I'd like to read the success affirmation. And we're going to be posting the success affirmation on my, I'm just trying to get the affirmation. We're going to be posting it on my Instagram page for people that are interested to download it. And it's a success affirmation. So I'm just going to read it. Just give me a moment to put it up. All right, fantastic. So I'm just going to read it out, and then you can go download it on my Instagram. I am successful. I look for and I find opportunities where others see nothing. I'm a lifetime learner. I'm solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution. I unconsciously, consciously, and methodically create my own success. I permit myself to be successful. I am bold and courageous. I ask the right questions and I get the right answers. I am constantly in a positive spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical state. I'm always grateful and thankful. I'm in charge of my life. I take full responsibility for my actions and my outcomes. I daily maximize potential. My gifts daily work and produce for me. I effortlessly succeed. And I use what I have effectively to create what I want. I'm successful, I'm productive, I'm proactive. And so if you're interested in downloading the success affirmation, just go to my Instagram. After today, we're going to keep it there. And you can download the lyrics, you can download the track. And another thing about tonight is, on my Instagram page, on the Coach Me online platform, we're giving out free coaching. And so tonight, if you're interested in having coaches coach you, to sort out your issues during this COVID-19 season, just go to my Instagram page and you will see how you can get your free coaching courtesy, Titi Akisanya. But the coaching is going to be digital, and it's going to be on the platform called Coach Me Online. And so we're going to open up the lines if you've got any questions for Titi. So you can send a comment. I've opened up the comment section. If you've got any questions for Titi, as we round up. So what questions do you have? Contributions. Anybody? If you've got any questions, any contributions? Okay. Any questions? Any questions? How long will these collabos continue for after COVID-19? I'm not sure that I understand what that means. Who was asking that question? Kola Banasco, you are asking how long will these collabos continue for? Can you just clarify, please, so that we can be clear on what you're saying? What mindset will help us overcome the unknown life after COVID-19, Titi?
Well, I mentioned it earlier on. It's a growth mindset. It's a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, a mindset that says, I don't care what may come my way, I choose to move forward. So it's a mindset that lets you focus on the choices you make. And I like the affirmation you read out, because that when we talk about mindsets and behaviors, one of the things we want our coaches to do is come up with their own affirmations too, so that it just it enables them to reframe what they need to do in a positive way, so that they can achieve better results going forward. There's life after COVID-19, certainly.
So someone is asking, what does VUCAD mean again? The D is disruption, the V is volatility. What does UCA mean?
So the U is uncertainty. The C is complexity. And the A is ambiguity. It's VUCA, but I just added the D. And in the last 4 years, we've always, within my HR arena, I've used the D to mean diversity. But now with COVID, I've just turned the D into disruption, because all of us are facing disruption one way or the other. So I've just been creative in that regard.
No. Someone is saying, what would HR be telling employees as a form of encouragement as the uncertainty remains after COVID-19?
HR will be telling employees about your resilience level, your mainstay, your ability to want to move forward. I remember something my former boss, Mona Kelly, used to say in my days in Coca-Cola. Anything that came in the company and I go to her, she'll say, I've seen this movie before. I mean, on our WhatsApp, we read a lot of chats. I mean, we've seen this movie before. HNV1, all those other, Ebola, right? The most recent.
Yeah.
So, this one too shall pass. But HR really is instilling that ability to want to forge ahead. When we do transformation in organizations, for example, one of the things HR reinforces is about the change management aspect of things. So HR is really instilling those change management techniques and passing it on to understand that there's a cycle of change. So there's life after COVID.
Wow, awesome. So let me see if there's any other. Is it possible to train as a coach part-time?
Well, luckily, there are various training organizations or institutions all over the world, and especially now in Nigeria. Yes, you can. I mean, you determine your own pace. Like any kind of training or education, but your certificate, you won't get your certificate until you finish the curriculum. And once you finish the curriculum, remember, there's still levels of accreditation that ICF requires of you.
All right, fantastic. Yes, if you're interested in, being trained as a coach or NLP practitioner, just slide into my DM and send me a message. If you're interested in free coaching, go to my Instagram and you'll find, how and the steps that you need to take towards getting your free coaching. If you know anyone that wants to become a coach and an NLP practitioner, just slide into my DM and we'll show you the way to go. Someone says that it was a great session, Titi. Someone says that it was an insightful session. Someone says that, you were phenomenal. Someone says that they enjoyed the session. Someone says that they're grateful. Thank you very much, ma. Someone says, how do we help our employees balance emotionally, especially post-COVID?
How do we help our employees balance emotionally?
Yes, post-COVID, yes.
Anything emotional is a personal choice.
All right, fantastic.
Right? I saw a question, what competencies do I need to be a coach?
Yes. How do I pick a coach?
Okay, so in terms of competencies, listening skills, very keen listening skills, ability to, you need critical thinking skills, you need communication skills to build rapport and be able to evoke awareness. You need empathy. You need empathy when you're coaching, not sympathy. So sympathy and empathy are not the same thing. These are some of those competencies or skills that you need as a coach.
And how should you pick a coach?
Well, oftentimes it's not just about looking at a name and see a name you like or whether the gender. You can pick a coach by interviewing a coach, getting them to talk with you. There's one of the companies I work for, it's a multinational, and what they do actually is when you've been selected for coaching, say once you're promoted to a new level, they give you CVs of 2 or 3 coaches within the list that they use in that organization. And then you interview those coaches and decide by yourself which of the 3 or 4 or 5 you'd like to coach you. And oftentimes, for some, it's about chemistry, it's about having the right level of rapport. So it's not just pick any coach. You should be able to interview them and decide whether you really want to proceed with this person, with this coach.
Fantastic. And the last question, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma. What's your advice for a person who has not totally understood him or herself and wants to be coached?
Can you say that again, please?
What's your advice to someone who hasn't yet fully understood him or herself but wants to be coached?
Well, you don't understand yourself, but you want to be coached. That's why we make a living as coaches. And it's really to engage you in that conversation in terms of what do you see yourself doing? What are you good at? How best do you exercise your gifts? What talents do you have? What strengths or potential do you have? It's almost like walking through a personal SWOT analysis with that individual.
Wow, fantastic. Wow, Titi, you've done justice to the topic tonight, and as we round up with Sia, unstoppable. So one of the things that a coach does for a coach makes you, helps you become unstoppable. Helps you transition from where you are to where you want to be, helping you identify the barriers that may stop you. The coach makes you unstoppable. So, Titi, thank you very much. It's been profound.
Oh, I forgot to say one thing, Lanre.
Yes.
A coach moves you from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence.
Awesome.
Let me leave that as a parting word.
Awesome. That's right.